And welcome back to Deathbattle Reaction! We got Skyrim's Dragonborn versus Dark Souls Chosen Undead. Look, I don't have much of a dog in this fight. I actually can't even remember what my prediction last week was for this fight. So, well, not last week, the previous week. Last episode, what was for this fight. So, look, my final opinion will be derived from what the information they give about us is. Let me see if I can just clean up that. Man, okay, that's definitely a little bit better, but it looks so potatoey in here, and a little bit it's the webcam, but part of it is its color actually doesn't, this blue that we have for the wall doesn't really translate well for the video. But I digress. So, let's get into this.
Well, sponsored by Brandon Yates. That's right, our Brandon Yates.
And I'm trying to also keep the volume. With Ant-Man and Adam last week, I had the volume on too high.
The Chosen Undead.
And
the accursed god killer from Dark Souls.
The last
there we go.
Dragonborn,
Sounds
the
about right.
dragon-slaying savior of Skyrim.
Resigned to captivity, these two
But it was so loud that my voice was barely heard over it.
Very gods themselves.
And devoured their friggin' souls.
Because these two lack specific canon arsenals and movesets due to being role-playing protagonists, for this death battle, we're giving them everything they have and maxing out all of their stats.
Which is totally possible in-game if you're willing to grind.
Yeah.
And it's
so my logic at least was because I couldn't find anything initially. If the Dragonborn has something that can take down the undead, well then it's game over for the undead.
The heroes are dead or mad, and the golden age.
I've heard Dark Souls is such
Looking
a
out
pain
upon
in
their
the ass game
decaying
to play.
kingdom, everyone would like
Awesome when
nothing
you
more
really
than
get
to
going,
lay
but
down
it's
and
so
die.
easy to
Too
die.
bad for them. That's the one thing they couldn't do.
The world has been gripped by the undead curse, turning anyone with a mysterious dark sign into mindless, violent hollows upon repeated soul-crushing deaths.
But there is a prophecy of a chosen undead who will journey to Lordran, the
Zombie
home of the
Jesus?
gods, and save the world.
I mean, apart from Zombie Jesus. And, oh, great. Now we got the damn. I hate when these ads pop up. I really do. Go away. No one cares about you.
Rotting away in an asylum, all it took was an assist from an unlucky knight and a giant raven before one unlikely hero was ready to claw their way through their progenitor's forgotten homeland.
And it helps that as long as they can keep their sense of purpose, an undead will always resurrect at the nearest bonfire. Now, they might slowly lose their memories, their personality, and their sanity, but the curse gives them as much
You're
time
gonna
as they
slowly
need to
go
get
insane, but sure.
Undead are unnaturally resilient, able to survive being impaled through the chest. They've been chewed, eaten, and digested by what I can only describe as a toilet demon. And they can have their souls torn from their very body, because undead humans don't need their souls to survive.
Just pop some of that spicy Sunny D, and they're good to go.
Hey.
If anything, it seems like
Fun
they
story
get
about
off
Sunny
to
D.
it.
I once chugged a
Souls,
giant
they can absorb the souls
half
of their
of
fallen
a
enemies
jug
to
of those
increase their power.
in high
They're a
school, and
master
then
with swords,
immediately
hammers,
threw up
spears,
like in the
axes,
bathroom
bows,
afterwards
you
because
name
my
it.
body
And
couldn't
that's
handle
without
it.
any formal training. With the right stats and setup, they can be anything from a cartwheeling assassin to a dragon-smashing tank.
To the giantest of dads. And despite the serious gothic themes of the series, these weapons can get anime as hell. Smo's Great Hammer is a ginormous mallet the size of a sedan.
Based on its size and likely bronze composition, it'd have to weigh over 100 tons. A lot like Goff's Great Bow, which can shoot pillar-sized arrows and one-shot dragons out of the sky.
Or my favorite, the Moonlight Great Sword, produced from the ass of the albino dragon and sorcery, Seath the Scaleless. This
he literally shot this out.
Universe-hopping anomaly that can fire powerful sword beams and just looks so cool!
Yeah,
the Chosen Undead has learned magic from the greatest practitioners in the world. They can create shockwaves, form defensive barriers, reflect damage, throw balls of flame, control mines, fire magical crystal spears, turn invisible, and toss bolts of sunlight strong enough to peel the stone scales off of mortal dragons.
So their pool of magic is pretty limited. So if it comes down to it, they can shut off all magic in the vicinity with the miracle Vow of Silence,
preventing anyone from speaking any spells aloud, including themselves. With this incredible arsenal and judicious attention paid to the stamina bar, the Chosen Undead was rolling their way to victory.
A roll so powerful it bends the laws of space and warps them through attacks like they weren't even there. Though sometimes it doesn't work and it's bullshit.
That's just a game mechanic, but great to use when you're panicking.
They've defeated Nido, the god of death, the bed of chaos, the mother of all demonkind, and Calamite, the strongest surviving ancient dragon.
That was when the chosen undead was dragged back in time to face the fallen knight Artorias, the greatest warrior in history. And not only defeat him, but accomplish the greatest feat attributed to Artorias' legend, the destruction of Manus, the father of the abyss that threatened to consume the world.
They've even beaten other chosen undead from alternate worlds, like the best buddy in all gaming, Solaire. Praise the sun, bro! And soon they were approached by these two slithery freaks. One said to link the fire, and the other said to let it die out, which totally makes sense. Wiz can explain it.
Don't look at me. Dark Souls lore is as notoriously convoluted as the flow of its time stream, which is why we have a true expert in the realms of nerdom to explain it for us.
Doggo, do you need to go outside?
You wouldn't believe how many item descriptions, forum posts, and moody 2013 lore videos I had to watch through for this. It's story time, kids. In the beginning, the world was unformed and static. Then suddenly, the first flame burst to life. And with it, the concepts of heat and cold, life and death, energy and time, light and dark.
Sounds like a mythological Big Bang.
The gods were granted immensely powerful souls from the first flame, but their greatest fear was the soul possessed collectively by the race known as humanity, the Dark Soul. The Skyfather Gwyn feared humanity's immortality, and so sealed their dark souls within them. But as humanity reproduced, the Dark Soul collectively grew and the first flame waned. Turns out humans were naturally undying, or according to the gods' propaganda, undead.
Gasp! It's all a conspiracy. The undead curse was a lie!
Linking the fire means using your very soul as fuel to keep the first flame burning. If an undead champion believes their immortality is a curse, they'll do anything to prevent it, including burning fragments of the Dark Soul to keep the Age of the Gods going.
So you're a pawn in a game played by decrepit gods desperately clinging to power. Well, that's a huge bummer.
They might look like a depressed California raisin, but in order to link the flame, their soul needs to be strong enough to maintain the whole universe and the flow of time for another 1,000 years.
Other similarly powerful undead across time are swift enough to dodge lightning and even light itself. Based on their dodge compared to this beam and the time it took to reach them, they'd be reacting and moving at over 20% the speed of light.
At the end of their quest, they faced down and defeated Gwyn, the Lord of
Cinder. Now that's important because I saw both the minor videos
so, which will you choose?
Before the full analysis last week. And there is the arrow feat that's like something beyond the speed of light or something like that.
This is the biggest bummer of them all. Truth is, it never mattered. The cycle just continues age after age with new heroes replacing the old ones until the chosen undead was long forgotten.
Until the infinite march of time ground the world to ash. It was never about the happy ending. It didn't exist. It was about the struggle to get there. That's ultimately what gives us meaning.
That's a nice sentiment. No one cares about you, ad for dessert. I mean, don't get me wrong, that looks kind of nice, but no one cares, and I don't give a shit about the show The Idol either. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
This episode of Deathbattle is sponsored by
Moving on.
That's right, Boomstick. Dive into the...
I can actually fast forward to this one.
The quaint Nordic villages.
Alright, now from what I've heard from a lot of people in the comment section of my prediction video, the Dragonborn theoretically should have
Randy
this.
Savage. No, it's Thomas the Tank Engine.
No, that is a dragon. But not just any mere Drake. This is Alduin, the World Eater. And he's come
apparently
to burn
I have
everything to a cinder.
But fortunately
I have
for you, his
been
path of destruction happened to
downplaying
interrupt
Alduin's
impending
powers
execution
whenever he
at
shows
the
up in
hands
a
of
verse.
those uppity
Apparently this guy's
imperial
like
pigs.
consumes
That'll be the
timelines
worst
and shit.
mistake this scaly monster would ever make.
It wouldn't be long before you escaped the destruction of Helgen and defeated a dragon yourself.
Then absorbed its freaking soul.
That could only mean one thing. You are a being born with the blood and soul of a dragon in the body of a Nord, or elf, or Khajiit, or lizard dude destined to battle Alduin and save the world.
In their tongue, you are the Dovahkiin. Dragonborn!
In their quest to rid Tamriel of Alduin's
Lost
dragon army,
Dragon,
the Dragonborn became a jack of all trades,
blessed
master
by
of
Tush, and also
They
blessed by
learned to
Todd.
be a master assassin with the Dark Brotherhood, a master sorcerer with the College of Winterhold, a master thief with the Nightingales, a master dragon hunter with the Blades, and a master good boy who's a good boy, that's a good boy.
They even fought in the Skyrim Civil War on the side of the Imperial Legion, champions of order.
You mean the Nordic War for Independence on the side of the Stormcloaks?
Those elf-funded Nord supremacists?
Better than those jackbooted Cyrodiil fascists? But what else could I expect from a monster who steals from innocent villagers by sticking buckets over their heads?
They can put their skills to good use with an absolute glut of weaponry. Not just the usuals like daggers, swords, hammers, and axes, but also special weapons given to them by the Daedric princes.
They're basically crazy powerful gods from the plane of existence called Oblivion. From that wascally wabbit Sheogorath, the Dragonborn received the Wabbajack, a stab
What?
that
The
casts a
Wabbajack.
completely random
Wabbajack.
spell on its target. From disintegrating them to healing them to turning them into a
That
chick.
random spell thing could
From
really
Meridia,
fuck
they
someone up.
received the Dawnbreaker, a holy sword made for burning the undead to ash.
Yeah,
That's similar to Oriel's bow, which can shoot fiery arrows that can blot out the sun. To cover the distance between the Earth and the Sun in about 2 seconds, the arrow would have to be moving at over 250 times
Oh,
the
yeah,
speed of light.
yeah, that
Except
20%
this
of the
isn't
speed
Earth
of
and
light
sun.
reaction
This is the
time
planet
doesn't mean
Nirn,
shit.
and that's Magnus. According to the Elder Scrolls lore master
Not
Michael
damn.
Goldbright, in universe text cosmology, when you look up at the sun, you're actually looking into a dimension of pure magic. Confused yet? I am.
Exact measurements here are difficult to make, but if anything, the distance should be much greater.
Speaking of magic bullshit, the Dragonborn can heal themselves, cast wards and destructive elemental spells, control minds, conjure weapons, and summon lesser Daedra to help them out in a scrap.
They're an especially powerful mage because their mana recovers
Hey,
itself
baby.
automatically
Yeah, pretty
over
hot.
time. They'll never truly run out of firepower. But as a Dovahkiin, the ability they're most famous for is the Thum, or shout.
The shout.
By speaking the words of the dragon language, they can manifest their will into reality.
Like with the classic Fus Roda, an unrelenting force which can knock your neighbors into next week, or Soul Tear, which removes the soul from your enemy's body and stores it in a cute gem, like so. Riva Soul! Wait, why didn't anything? Oh.
Student loans, man. Something had to cover the down payment. With these shouts, the Dragonborn can summon country-spanning storms, slow down time, and even call upon a dragon for help. Odahviing. Dragons may look like scaly reptiles, but in reality, they're immortal demigods older than time itself. They're the children of the chief god of Tamriel's pantheon.
The Dragonborn is an unstoppable force of nature. If they happen to take any damage, they can just drink a potion or nosh on a cheese wheel and be good as new. And they can carry up to 150 cheeses at once. My dream.
Assuming these abnormally large cheese wheels have an average weight of 70 pounds, we can determine that the Dragonborn can carry up to 10,500 pounds of cheese.
And that makes sense
That's
considering
just
they
a
can
stupid
match
fact.
muscles with giants who are so strong they can shatter the game's spaghetti code to pieces.
The last Dragonborn has battled the vampire Lord Harkon, ended Skyrim Civil War, and defeated the first Dragonborn, Miraak.
And according to the book The Guardian and the Traitor, Miraak was powerful enough to tear apart the island of Solstheim from
confirms the last
Skyrim's
Dragonborn
mainland.
DLC.
By comparing the size of various countries on Tamriel's map, we can determine that Solstheim is a landmass nearly 1,500 miles in diameter. In order to move that much land over the course of their fight, Miraak's magical prowess must have output an energy over 300 teratons of TNT.
That's 3 times the impact of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs.
Lovely.
Not too crazy when shouts can get strong enough to shake the world itself.
It wasn't long before the Dragonborn confronted Alduin
There's
in
Alduin.
Nordheaven and put an end to the World Eater once and for all.
The epithet is literal. By absorbing the souls in Skyrim's afterlife, Alduin was powerful enough to devour everything. Not just the planet of Nirn, but the Kalpa, the entire timeline past, present, and future.
That's the level of unimaginable power the Dragonborn is dealing with here.
Tamriel is no stranger to great
Not
heroes
the
across
jewels
its
of my
vast,
life force.
sprawling history. The Nerevarine, the hero of Kvatch, all magnificent in their own right.
But when you heard that shout echo through the mountains and the death throes of a dragon defeated, you knew it could only be the Dovahkiin. Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin. Hey,
All
Elvis,
right.
did you know that I can blow up a galaxy?
What?
How?
I signed up for a Deathbattle YouTube membership.
Okay,
From
so
the day
that's the predictions, and the fact that the chosen undead can negate all magic in the area is a bit of a problem. But from like a physicality standpoint, and just the individuals they've beaten, yeah, I would probably go with the Dragonborn. He's beaten the guy who's literally was eating timelines. That arrow moves far faster than his reflexes can even handle. His strength, it seems like the Dragonborn's got the edge in strength, but at the same time, I wonder if that hammer feat, because that's a weapon they can use, is going to matter at all. That might be that chosen actually has stronger strength. Magic to magic, it does seem like the Dragonborn does have the edge, but again, the ability to shut down magic is a bit of an issue. But he also can pretty much keep using magic a lot longer than this guy can. I will still go with what a lot of people have been saying. I'll still go with the Dragonborn. But let's find this out.
it's all possibilities.
It's time
Not
for
for
a
a
death
battle!
battle!
Let's see how this looks, Dylan. All right.
Go and stop this fool who would let the flame burn the age of humans to
That's
ashes.
pretty decent.
The ancients of dark will do anything to snuff out the light. Save us, chosen undead.
Oh, this looks pretty good. Visually, this looks pretty good. Oh, yeah, he's got... Oh. Yep, no, he's not strong enough to stop it. Does not have the reflexes to block it. Stops time. Pretty cool. But he can survive without his soul. He respawns at the fire. Summon. Hey, I got a dragon! Oh, the dragon actually looks pretty good. Now, this guy can kill dragons, like, just one-shot with a bow, but the dragons he summons are not as strong. Or, sorry, are not stronger. Never mind. Shinori! And once again, he resets. Got his big F-off weapon now. Which is a cool... It's basic, but it's a very cool sword. This might be it. His weapon might be more equipped to handle him than his weapon is. I like the juxtaposed too. It's a smaller blade, it's faster. It's a heftier blade. It's going to be good on defense and power strikes, but not fast. Took the magic away, but
Prepare to die.
oh, that went away, and that was only temporary.
Save this world, chosen warrior. Bring the fire!
Oh, okay, seriously.
Oh my god, Percy!
Okay.
Let true dark be cast upon the world. Our Lord hath returned.
So is that the Dragonborn, Whitley? Okay, that was the Dragonborn winning.
Oh my god, this boss is bullshit!
This debate was fascinating. The Dragonborn had a wider variety of training, better access to summons, and magic that passively regenerated, as opposed to the Chosen Undead's limited pool of magic.
Vow of Silence was a slick counter to the Dragonborn's magic and shouts, but it wouldn't last forever.
Yep.
The Dragonborn was significantly faster, too. The Chosen Undead could dodge beams of light, sure, but Oriel's bow could fire arrows that move at least
In the air, we need
250
to pass through the
times
infinite
that.
dimension.
But
Floating
none
to
of
reach
that mattered
Magnus,
if
the
Chosen
actual speed
Undead
arrow is
couldn't
arguably infinite as
stay
well.
dead.
You'd think the Dragonborn's anti-undead weaponry like Dawnbreaker would be an easy solution, but the undead of Dark Souls aren't really the same as Draugr from Skyrim.
Skyrim Undead are more like those classic reanimated skeletons. But remember the conspiracy. Humans in Dark Souls are naturally immortal. They're not actually undead.
Soul Tear wouldn't have been much use either, considering humans in Dark Souls can have their souls removed without dying.
So why didn't the Chosen Undead just keep coming back until they eventually won? Like with any Dark Souls buff.
Yeah.
One word, power. The Dragonborn had way more and greater feats of raw power than the Chosen Undead.
Yep.
Oh yeah, like summoning country-spanning storms with a single shout, or defeating Mirak, who split a continent.
There's also the lore. Both characters are essentially mythological demigods in the same kind of vein as Hercules or Sun Wukong. Gameplay alone won't give you the best idea of their full power as characters.
So let's get an idea of their max potential from the lore.
The
The
lore.
Chosen Undead sustaining the First Flame with their soul was insanely impressive. Considering the First Flame is responsible for the core concepts of the universe, like energy and time, it's not a stretch to say it affects not just the planet they live on, but the whole universe.
But that's nothing compared to the power levels in the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Let's compare the First Flame to Alduin. Both literally run on the power of souls, and both can be directly scaled to our combatants.
Alduin had strength to consume the universe, not just Nirn, but the Kalpa as well.
You know those planets you see in the sky? According to cosmology, those are actually separate, infinitely big planes of reality. Alduin was going to eat infinity. Multiple infinities.
In comparison, the First Flame is powerful enough to sustain a
Let's see,
universe
the only thing
and
that
the
the Chosen
flow of
Undead really
time.
had was
But
greater
it
size,
can't
ability,
be
and resurrects
infinite,
upon death.
Otherwise, it never would have faded.
It also
to
eventually
begin
go hollow,
with.
And
too
that meant
slow
the
to
Chosen
weak to win.
Undead just wasn't powerful enough no matter how many times they revived. With that much of a difference in power, the Chosen Undead would eventually lose their will to fight and go hollow. It's not traditional, but it is a form of death in Dark Souls. The Chosen Undead was surely tenacity personified, but still wasn't enough to stand up to the Dragonborn's incredible skill, broken arsenal, and overwhelming power.
The Chosen Undead could only last so long before they flamed out.
Yeah.
The winner is the Dragonborn.
That was a decent episode. I mean, look, I wasn't more
Thanks for
invested
watching.
probably
Stay tuned.
because
We
I
have a
just
new
didn't
Deathbattle releasing
care about
every 2
Dark
weeks
Souls
this
or
year.
Skyrim
Click the
at
join
all.
button to get new perks and extra content.
Let's see, though,
Platinum
what the
level
next
members
one's
even
gonna
see
be.
Deathbattles before anyone else.
Who we
don't
got
miss out.
coming up? Oh, it's Killua versus who? Okay, I do know Killua because I've been reading Hunter x Hunter. Versus Misaki? From what series is that now? Okay, so that's the fight. I'm not exactly sure who Misaki is. I'll look into that for the prediction video. But that was the death battle, and but that was the death battle. Skip ad. Thank you. We're done now. And we're just gonna cancel that right now. So yeah, that was the death battle, and look, it was a good video. It was a good battle. Again, I just didn't have that big a dog in the fight in it. That's all. So I really wasn't. I really didn't care who won ultimately. But hey, look, it was a good fight. So what did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And what do you think of this next matchup? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks later.